We'll kick things off with this whole Sarah Bond and Xbox thing. Obviously last week we had the whole leadership shift and talked about that in detail. And the one thing that we did point out was, the Sarah Bond resigning. And, John made the joke, you can leave quietly or leave loudly, essentially was the joke. And, thought it was kind of interesting that nobody said anything about her in all of their statements except for Phil. And now since then, there has been numerous publications come out this week just talking about Sarah Bond's time with the company. Basically, how, for example, this is an Xbox was apparently her thing, and everyone hated that ad. We joked about it whenever that came out. The Xbox Anywhere was also led by her. Apparently, it was based on some reports, there was stuff that it was her way or no way kind of thing. A lot of people are glad that she's gone, everything of the sort. I gotta be honest with you boys. I think these are hit pieces. I'm gonna be dead ass. Because, dude, this is a multi-billion-dollar company. I'm sorry. She is not one single individual that said, we're running this. This is an Xbox ad, and you can't tell me otherwise. There's no damn way that's how it went. There's so many checks and balances that this shit has to go through. I really think that she's, the fall guy in this whole thing. They're propping Phil up because everyone loved Phil, the goodwill of Phil, as you say. And she's basically as the fall guy. That's how these articles don't line up to me. They're fishy. They're very, very did she lead the Xboxes? This is an Xbox campaign. Yeah, sure. But the way all of these publications and articles are writing about it, as if she's the biggest villain. Did she have a hand in any sort of shortcomings and failures? Yeah, absolutely. Can't really say she didn't. You know what I mean? But the way it's all being pinned on her, it's kind of wild to me because it's dude, that there's something that doesn't add up to me. You know what I mean? I feel like she's basically made out to be the scapegoat, the fall guy.
I mean, she very much could, but it may also just be a thing of in office, yeah, she may not have been the sole person who could decide it, but in their mind, she could have been the most vocal and pushing for it.
Yeah,
it's her idea or her big project was this is an Xbox.
Everyone hated that,
and it's I mean, honestly, I think as the community of people who are having to watch the ads, if we didn't have to watch multiple of those ads every time they did a showcase, it probably would have been fine.
I was about to say, I think the ads is what killed it.
They just ran the ads too much.
Yeah,
where it became a joke. But it's her
because the Play Anywhere idea is not a bad idea at all.
The Xbox Anywhere is not bad. The thing with this is an Xbox that I know people didn't care for is that it felt like they were kind of ignoring the main hardware.
Yeah. I mean, at that point in time, they wanted us to.
Yeah, correct.
They still want us to ignore their hardware.
Yeah, that's why we have a $700 console, $800 console in the market right now. Okay. But no, it's I don't know. I'm reading all this. It's stuff just don't add up to me. Again, was she at fault for stuff? Yes. Was Phil at fault for stuff? Yes. Yeah. Was Matt at fault for stuff? Yes, but he got a promotion. There was multiple hands at fault, in my opinion. So I don't know. It feels. It's just. I look at this and gaming media where it's you have to find someone to blame, and sometimes there are clear people to blame. Fuck you, Jim Ryan. You're a prick. But this is a case of where it's all right, guys. This feels like a little bit of a hit piece. I'm sure she did. She was very vocal about it, like you just said. But there's a lot of people that's got to sign off on this stuff too. So it's just interesting seeing how gaming media works sometimes.
Yeah, there'll be a book that comes out in a year.
I know. Probably. Yeah. There'll be a book at some point that really gives the full truth on everything.
Or it's we'll get a book from a couple people that has everybody's different perspective on what happened in it, and then it's that'll be another one where it's when it comes out, it's you can decide what you believe from there.
Yeah.
And then 2 years from that, there'll be ex-employees who were there at the time doing interviews and whatnot, saying, "Oh yeah, confirming and denying things."
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna in a year we'll find out what actually happened.
Yeah, that's true. Give it a year, give it 2, and you'll get the full details of everything. Next thing I had is Asha Sharma and Matt Booty recently did an interview with Jez Gordon over at Windows Central. So I pulled a couple highlights from this. I didn't pull exact quotes, just some my way of wording things. So one thing from Asha is that admits again that she needs to learn and understand the why in decisions. Needs to learn basically the industry. That was something we talked about last week. But wanting to approach some of the things that have been done about why things were made. Because like one example was the whole multiplat thing, which was also kind of talked about, where she said the plan is the plan until it's not the plan, which is saying everything that's in motion now is not changing, but that could change.
Yeah.
But she needs to know the why in decisions, which that's fair. Asha's talked about how she understands that players have invested thousands of dollars and time into Xbox and wants to protect that, which that's valid. Between games, buying multiple consoles over 25 years, that's a valid statement. Asha also talked about the returning to Xbox starts with the console, starts with the hardware, which will be talked about more soon. We know there's going to be a new console potentially next year. I think he's possibly delayed based on the whole memory stuff, but new sometime in the future. Matt Booty also talked about that we are built being first party and not a publisher.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And reading that, I don't know, it made me think like back, what we talked about last week, where it's just like, are they actually going to attempt to roll back the whole multiplat thing? And it's like, what if Sarah Bond was the biggest leader on that, and now that her and like Phil are gone, where they just want more players because no one's buying the hardware. Like, what if they actually try to go back to being first party? I don't know.
I mean, it would be a progressive thing for her because, like, if she's saying the plan is plan, so I mean, as she more or less saying, she can't backtrack on what's already happened and what's pretty
Correct.
much in full motion. So
like
I mean,
Halo going to PS5.
yeah,
soon.
so probably whatever's already been announced for multiplat's still going multiplat regardless.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a look forward of probably of, as she said, the decision why she may take it more of a thing of like, is it better for this to go multiplat or keep it as first party?
Right.
And they'd be looking at that in a direction. So
Yeah.
It could also be the thing of like what they've said before with their multiplat plan is it's games that have lived on Xbox for a while
True.
that they think have reached their potential on Xbox, so then they put it everywhere else
Yeah.
so that it can expand from there. Because that's been what they've said so far.
Yeah, that was when they started it. Yeah, that's what they really talked
So it's
about.
like it could just be, yeah, we're gonna continue putting some games over there, but don't anticipate like our new first party stuff to be multiplat.
yeah,
Which, I mean, I would like to see, them try to go back to being first party, because it's like competition is good for the industry.
oh, most
Like,
definitely.
it is. Like, look, you take Xbox out of the picture and they end up going like this Sega publisher route that, I've predicted and talked about it years, right? At the end of the day, when you talk about the type of console that and the PlayStation is, you have the PlayStation standing on its own. Because like I said last week, Nintendo won the console wars a long time ago. They don't compete with Sony. They don't compete with Xbox. They exist in their own bubble. They do their own style of games. They're not trying to push the bounds for these massive, breathtaking graphical games. Their breathtaking graphics is in more of like an artistic, style, whatever. They do their own thing. You know what I mean? They have their own audience. It's always been Xbox and PlayStation trying to compete. So it's like you take Xbox out of the picture, and it's like you're just losing competition. Like, you have competition from a publishing standpoint, yes. Who's going to make the best games and stuff? But I think I'm in a boat that I think exclusives are a good thing. I know a lot of people are more like, oh, I want everything everywhere. I like exclusives because it's what drives me to be. Why would I want to buy this? That's my mindset of things. Now I will say, something I've seen people talk about when it comes to, well, if we can't go back on exclusives, the big thing about Xbox is, what features are you going to drive to make people want to come to your console, right? Like,
Exactly.
like what are you going to bring to the table that's going to separate the Xbox from the PlayStation? Which that's also fair, because Xbox definitely has some stuff, whether it's just the subscription service of Game Pass or the phenomenal quick resume that Xbox has. That thing is so good. But like, what other features can you bring? So I would like to see them try to take another swing at being first party, but it already feels like their coffin is already in the grave, and they just have to get into the coffin now. That's how it's felt for a
I mean,
while.
at this point, yeah. I mean, more or less, people see it more as a publisher than a first party at this point in time, because
Yeah,
we've seen so few first party titles over the last several years.
yeah,
I mean, if what they could do, which they already have contact with the man himself, is go a Steam direction
oh my god, imagine.
and be like, we still have some first party games, but we also just published a lot of stuff too for the
Yeah, yeah.
heck of it.
Right.